Today I invite you to begin this day with an open heart, ready to move forward, even when everything feels uncertain, heavy, or even discouraging. Maybe you started this morning carrying the weight of fears that hold you back, memories of painful situations, unfulfilled promises, or wounds that still hurt deeply. I understand. Many of us have been there. But I want to remind you that faith is not a feeling that depends on calm moments, nor a reaction that adjusts to the circumstances around. Faith, my dear ones, is the brave step we take even when the path is dark and we can't see what lies ahead. It's not about closing our eyes to reality, but rather a conscious decision to open them to a greater truth that goes beyond what we can perceive. It's the trust that there is a purpose, a bigger plan, even when visible signs seem to suggest otherwise. When we think of the word faith, many believe it's just believing in something without proof. But true faith is much deeper. It's the courage to trust in God's word when everything inside of us screams to give up. It's moving forward without having all the answers. It's holding on to hope even in the silence that seems to have no end. In a well-known passage, Paul wrote that we walk not by sight but by faith. This teaching goes far beyond a simple verse. It's the guide for a life that doesn't wait for the perfect moment, that doesn't need ideal conditions to act. Faith pushes us out of where we've been stuck and invites us to move forward, knowing the one who sent us is greater than any obstacle. Let me tell you about a man named Nahor, a rarely mentioned character in the Bible, Rebekah's father, who began a journey to a distant land with little knowledge of what awaited him. He didn't have a clear or secure destination, but he was guided by the promise of God, which held his hope. Nahor teaches us that faith is not about measuring the road ahead, but about trusting the direction God has laid out. Friends, walking by faith means this: rising up even when everything inside us wants to stay still, moving forward even when the path feels dark, trusting that the journey has meaning even if we can't yet see the end. Each step strengthens our endurance and builds a legacy of trust and surrender, not just for our own lives, but for those who come after us. This is the essence of faith. It's not something loud that needs to prove itself every second. Often, it's a quiet, persistent voice that whispers, "Keep going, I'm with you." And it's in that silence that God reveals His power, not to those chasing quick answers, but to those who learn to wait, to persevere, and to trust. When we speak of faith, we must remember it doesn't deny what's real. It's not running from challenges or closing our eyes to problems. On the contrary, it's choosing to look at reality with renewed eyes, seeing beyond what the natural senses allow. It's recognizing that there is an invisible world working in our favor, a divine plan unfolding even when the visible says nothing's happening. Let me be clear. Faith is much more than passively waiting. It's acting with confidence. It's rising up and walking, even when circumstances are at a standstill. It's the daily decision to believe that God is in control, that He is the light in the darkness, the strength in our weakness, the comfort in our solitude. Let this message sink into your heart. If today you feel afraid, doubtful, or unsure, know this: you are not alone. Many times the greatest display of faith is to keep going despite fear. True faith is that flame that doesn't go out, even when the winds of doubt blow strong. Dear brother, dear sister, I want you to rise with me right now. Let your faith not depend on what your eyes can see, but on the certainty of God's promise that never fails. Let's be brave and move forward in the direction God is calling us, even when the path is unclear, even when the vision is limited. Before we continue, may I ask if I can move on to the next section? I'm preparing a special moment of reflection and a powerful prayer to strengthen your faith and courage to face whatever may come. Shall we continue? When we talk about faith, it's natural for the heart to fill with doubt. After all, who hasn't felt the weight of fear when facing the unknown? And it's exactly at that point where faith becomes a supernatural force, because it doesn't depend on our understanding or on human certainty. The courage to keep going comes from the complete trust that, even when we don't understand the path, we are being led by a higher purpose. Have you ever stopped to think about how many times in your life you've had to take a step in the dark? Maybe it was when choosing a new job, entering a relationship, or even deciding to change habits that weren't doing you any good. These moments, seemingly small, are powerful opportunities to practice faith. They teach us that true transformation doesn't depend on what's around us, but on what we carry within. Let's reflect for a moment on the story of Ananias, an ordinary man who faced his fears and doubts to obey a calling that seemed impossible. He was afraid, uncertain, full of questions, but he chose to trust. His courage to act even in the face of uncertainty opened doors that transformed lives and changed the course of the story around him. Just like Ananias, you might be called to take a step that demands courage and trust. Maybe it's not a giant leap, but the simple act of getting up each day and choosing to believe that better days will come is already a tremendous act of faith. Courage is not the absence of fear, it's the decision to move forward despite it. So today I want to encourage you to look within and recognize where your strength lies. Maybe all you need is a word to renew your hope, a spark to reignite your inner fire. Faith is that light that never goes out. It is the fuel for your soul, and more than that, it is the bridge between what is and what will be, between the difficult, present, and the future full of possibilities. Many times, what paralyzes us is not the size of the challenge, but the lack of certainty about the outcome. But I want you to know this: you don't need to have all the answers now. God is working behind the scenes, preparing every detail of your life so that you can blossom at the right time. Trust in His timing, even if it feels slow to your eyes. Now imagine a gardener planting seeds. He doesn't see what's happening beneath the soil, but he knows that daily care will ensure a future harvest. That's what faith is. A silent investment that bears fruit at just the right time. You may not see the transformation yet, but it's happening. If today you're facing a difficult moment, let me tell you, it's okay to feel that way. The journey of faith is not without struggles, but it's in that very process that our character is shaped and our trust in God grows stronger. With every challenge we overcome, our faith becomes more solid, more profound, and more capable of sustaining us through any storm. And here's a special invitation for you who are watching. How about sharing in the comments a moment when you had to walk by faith? It can be something recent or a situation that deeply marked your life. Your story might inspire others who are going through similar moments. After all, we are a faith community, and when we share our experiences, we strengthen each other. If you're feeling this calling in your heart, don't let this message go unnoticed. Stand up, take a deep breath, and choose to move forward. You are so much stronger than you think, and faith is the path that reveals that strength. Before we move on to the final part, I'd like to ask you something very important. If this video has touched your heart, if the words spoken here are bringing light to your day and making sense to you, how about subscribing to the channel? Here we walk together on the journey of faith, hope, and love. Your subscription is not just a number, it's a sign that you want to grow, learn, and share this journey with us. And don't forget to leave your comment with your experience or a word that touched your heart. Your participation is essential for us to build a space of real support and growth, far from cliches and superficiality. I want to hear your voice, your story, your testimony. Throughout life, we learn that prayer is not only about asking, it's mostly about surrender. It's a silent dialogue that connects us to the deepest part of ourselves and to a power that goes beyond human understanding. True prayer comes from a heart willing to open up, trust, and rest in the certainty that we are never alone. At this moment, I invite you to a simple yet powerful exercise. Find a quiet place, take a deep breath, and let these words reach your soul. Feel hope starting to rise inside you. Feel that quiet strength standing up to walk with you. Lord, even when doubts surround me and darkness seems greater, I choose to trust in your light. I know every challenge is a chance to grow, and your presence sustains me. Give me courage to move forward, wisdom to understand your ways, and peace to rest in your love. Let my faith not just be words, but action. Action that transforms my life and inspires those around me. Amen. This prayer is for you who feel the weight of the world on your shoulders, for you who have tried so many times and still haven't given up. Faith is not a place for the weak, but a path for the brave. Those who know that even when they fall, they can rise again stronger. Remember the stories we've heard throughout the video. Stories of ordinary people who became examples of faith and courage. They didn't have superpowers, they weren't perfect, but they chose to trust in the unseen and act with hope. That's what makes all the difference. The daily decision to keep going. If life seems like a mess of uncertainty right now, know that you are exactly where you need to be, to learn, to grow, and to prepare for what's coming. Every step, even the ones that feel too small, are seeds being planted for a future harvest full of blessings. Here on this channel, we want to be a community that supports, shares stories, and inspires. So, if you liked the video, if your faith was renewed, or even if you have a question or something to share, tell us. Your story is valuable and might be the light someone else is needing right now. Before we say goodbye, I want to thank you deeply for being here, for dedicating your time and opening your heart to this message. If you haven't subscribed yet, do it now and be part of this family walking together in faith, love, and hope. Your presence is essential so we can grow and reach more people with this message of strength and renewal. And remember, faith doesn't have to be perfect to be powerful. It just needs to be true and sincere. Keep believing, keep praying, and know that you are never alone on this journey. See you in the next video with more words that lift, inspire, and transform. Stay with God and receive a warm hug full of gratitude.